cavalettis. These are small little jumps that just are 1 8-foot bar with 2 cross sections on either end. So they sit like this, and then the cavaletti will sit, or the pole will sit on one of them. So as you rotate it, it gives you different heights. So it can go from a trot pole to, I think it's 1.5 feet or something like that. This is going to be a little tricky because I have to, I think it's called a lap joint or so or something. And what I got to do is I got to measure the halfway point of these guys. And then I'm going to hollow out 3.5 inches in the center of each one of these, and then put them together. And then I got, what are they called? Not lag bolts, the other ones. What are they called? Anyway, I don't know. I didn't exactly know what sizes I needed, so I got some 4-inch ones and some 8-inch ones. The 8-inch ones are going to be for that guy, for the long poles attaching to these guys, because I'm not going to lap them, because that's not how you do that. And then the 4-inch ones are for the 2 cross sections being lapped together. And you say, well, Adam, it's a 4x4. That's not long enough. Well, I'm going to bore a hole so these sit in the joints. I just realized just now that I have no way of holding this guy while I have the whole, like, I can do the one end, but this guy is just going to free spin on me. Because I bought washers to make them fatter. And I just realized that's just going to free spin on the washer as I tighten it. So, might have to do something about that. But we'll see. So anyway, but we're going to use, it just so happens, so I need to mark the center. And then I need to do 3.5 inches on either side, because these are 3.5 by 3.5, not 4x4s. I need to do 3.5 on one and 3.5 on the other. Then we can place them together. And it just so happens I was figuring out how I'm going to get all, because I'm just going to do a bunch of cuts and then chisel them out. And then I realized, I'm like, how am I going to do that? My circular saw is tiny. My table saw I don't want to do it on, and my miter saw is too small for it as well. I had these 4, so I bought 3 8-foot pressure-treated 4x4s. So we're not going to be sanding them down or anything. I'm probably just going to paint them white with all of their imperfections on them. They just wanted white ones, and I'm not going to do a bunch of sanding. I'm just going to slap them together and deliver them. So I'm going to try to figure this out without messing it up. So we're going to measure 85 times. And then I think I'm going to put some mild points on the ends of these guys. And I don't know how I'm going to do that yet. I might just hand saw them. Because cavalettis tend to roll if the horse hits them, and if you just put a couple angles on the ends, that'll work out just fine. But as it so happens, I needed something that can go 1 3/4 of an inch deep, and this is that's exactly what this does. I thought it was going to be too small, but this goes pretty much exactly where we need it to go. And if it's a little short, it's not long. If it's a little short, then the chiseling out will handle that anyway. So yeah, so we're going to try our best. This is too small to figure this out. So these are 24 inches long. So the center point is 12 inches. And if we do maybe 3.5 inches, right? So that's from on either end. We do one and, well, just exactly what this was, 1 3/4. So from 12, that would be 13 3/4. And from the other way, it will be 10 1/4. And that should give us exactly what we're looking for. 3.5 with a little bit of leeway. I like it. I'll mark it up. Now, this being pressure treated wood, I am probably going to put my mask on when I cut it. Because again, I don't have a proper dust collection for my handsaw here. So we're going to have to be very careful. Because, yeah, pressure treated wood is no joke, I guess. All right, so 12, and then 13 3/4, and 10 1/4. So now what we got to do, these are still pretty heavy. You can see they're still pretty wet in there, but we're not going to wait forever to get this done. We may wait to paint them, but that's not something that needs to be said or shown here. I may wait until like Monday to paint them, just in case I need to tighten anything and all that kind of stuff. However, I want to do this so right that it can't be wrong. I think we can use this guy to guide our cuts on either end, and then we just whip a bunch of cuts through the center, and then we knock it out. It's really hot, so putting this mask on is something I've been not wanting to do, but we're going to do it. I believe that this is going to be the poopiest part of this whole project, but we'll see. I need a battery. Okay, so I was thinking about doing all of the cuts right now, but then I was like, maybe I should make sure that this works on this one piece first, so then I don't waste all of the other ones if something's wrong. So we'll grab our biggest chisel now, and I think we just kind of break it out. We just got these biscuit type looking things. And then we got a center that kind of looks all mangled up in there. And so we should be able to just kind of slowly chip away at it. Okay, so looks like we're getting there. Now again, how pretty is it of the inside of this joint doesn't matter as much to me. So we get there. It's actually not too shabby. We're going to put a lot of glue in there before we bolt it. And so I'm realizing now that maybe we only countersink the one side, the side with the nut on it. And we don't washer this one side. So then this little square part actually could just sit in the wood and maybe give us enough oomph holding power to let us bolt it in. But anyway, there's that one. Looks pretty good. All right, so we're just over 3.5 inches, which is fine. Like I said, we're going to put a lot of glue in there. But let's just double check with a... Okay, so yeah, we're like 1/16 over. So for the other ones, see, this is, I'm glad I realized. For the other ones, we're going to try to be on the inside of these lines that we've created. So this guy, I'm going to have a lot of dust kicking around in here, but it's hot and humid enough that it just keeps falling to the ground fast. So it's not lingering in the air, not that I can tell anyway. I mean, I'm sure there's particulates, but yeah. So I'm gonna knock these guys out, chisel them out, and then we'll see how they fit together. Well, we have a problem. I don't know how many of you clocked it before I did, but I seem to make these kind of mistakes more often than not. We only have enough 2-foot pieces to make one cavaletti, not two. So we'll just do the one, and from there, I'll just make the other one in my own time. Because there's no way I can go out, get another post, cut it up, and all that kind of stuff today. No shot. All right. Let me tidy a little bit of this up here. All right, now let's just see how they fit together. It's tight. It's going to be tight, which is good. So I think we're going to have to put them together. Voila. Oh, this one's really tight. I don't know if that's going to come apart. Like maybe there's, well, this one. I don't know. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab this. I'm going to grab this and I'm going to go corner to corner here. Just rough it out. And we're going to pretend that that's exact center. We'll find out when we do the drilling. Okay. So from there, this side is going to be the side that we countersink, I think, the one bolt. So we need a Forstner bit. I think we're going to use this one. We'll have to get the washer to find out. Oh, it's going to have to be the bigger one. I don't know. It's like it's the right size. We'll have to see. We'll have to see if it clears enough. So then we'll grab our drill and we're going to go get some batteries. Batteries. So what we're going to do first is drill the Forstner bit in. That center mark. just past the depth of this guy. So that fits in just fine. So that doesn't. Son of a gun. But this one is so much bigger. So I don't know how to do that now. You know what I'm going to do? Bet you don't. Bet you don't know what I'm going to do. Now this is where we hope our center mark is at least close. Okay. So for that, I think is done, that part. I realize that what I'm doing is making a mess. Okay. We need a drill bit. The size of our bolts. Carriage bolts, guys. They're carriage bolts. So now I'm going to try to go as straight up and down as possible. That one didn't come out the exact center, but that's okay. So let's tidy up a second. Now is the moment of truth for these guys. Where did I put my brush? Oh, there it is. We're just going to floor it for now. I have a broom. Kind of happy that the Forstner bits and stuff make such big chunks. Then I don't have to worry about the debris as much. If I take a short one here, The funny thing is I bought enough bolts and stuff. We pound it in. We're going to have to cut some of it off, which is fine. Okay, so I think that should hold the way I want it to while we tighten it. If the wood is strong enough, I guess. But we don't have to over tighten it. I don't think I'm going to take these apart to glue them. I think we're going to leave them as is, and if they get loose over time, which they probably will, then we can adjust them then. Because it's not like I'm never going to see these people again. All right, so we got one of each here. Yeah, whatever. I don't know if I have a socket big enough to tighten these. I might have to cut them first. So now, it sits in there like that. It's got to move to the end. Now here's the problem I see with so many of these things in the way that they're built, because I see them all over the place. When I was asked to make this, I was like, I wonder if there's a way I can fix that problem. Now, the problem is that I see it loose. The thing that loosens up the most is the 8-foot pole loosening on the crosses. And I think the reason is because they just put one bolt in one way, and then it just loosens over time because like wood shrinks and all that kind of stuff. But I don't know. Well, first of all, I didn't buy enough. I'd love to be able to put one in each direction. So one coming in this direction and then one coming in this direction. But I'd have to put one too close to the edge, I think, for that to work. I just realized I don't have a drill bit long enough for this either. So I'll have to go from one way and the other, like from one side to the other side. Well, no, I have, it will go enough to mark the other one so I can finish the drill. That's fine. Okay. So anyway, so we're just going to do it like normal. If there's a way for me to say, if there's a way for me to strengthen it, I'll figure it like before we finish it. Then, hooray! But I don't know. All right. That, ladies and gentlemen, is a cavaletti. All right, well, even without it being tightened, it's not shaking, it's not loose in any way. I know it's gonna loosen up over time because it will shrink. The wood will shrink. Shouldn't shrink that much. So I probably will glue certain parts of it. Like I'm going to glue the 8-foot guy to the crosses, and I think that's going to hopefully solve the problem of that being the weak spot. The problem is that these get kicked by horses all the time because the horse jumps over this, right? And like if the horse is being lazy, like my horse, he'll smack his feet on it, and it will go, yeah. And then the trainer that I'm working with, she's like, she doesn't like cavalettis because they have a tendency to roll, because horses hit them pretty hard, so they have a tendency to roll. But anyway, so you can see that there's 4 different ways you can put this. There's the lower way, the highest way, this lower way, that's the same thing. But then you can do it this way, and it's more of like a trot pole or something closest to the ground. And so they use it in all of these fashions. So cavalettis are very versatile in the training purposes of jumps. So that's why I've been asked to make a couple. But we've only made one. Didn't take very long. It was more work than I expected. Like it was definitely more physical work than I expected. Cutting the lap joints was like, my arm started getting tired by the last one. So again, I'm not used to this stuff, so it can only get better. But this will be the cavaletti that we'll say is pretty much done here. Hello, welcome to a new week. As you can tell, I found that footage of the cavaletti build. So I just quickly put that together at the front of this video, just because I don't want to just not use it. So that's been there. And this week, I have this one day, it seems, to record in the shop this week. There was a couple of things that I came and did in the shop, but mostly it was just clean up and some fixer-upper stuff. For example, we have a horse show starting tomorrow, Friday, so that's why I have to kind of just be in here just for today, and then hopefully I can get a bunch done, slap together a video and put it out. We have the ribbon holders I made for Potter and Giggles. They didn't have their the inserts for the pictures. And they didn't have their chains on them yet, so I had to get that done before the horse show, so we can use them this weekend. So it should be pretty good. It's going to rain all day tomorrow, but the rest of the weekend should be nice for the horse show, so that's pretty good. Anyway, the next project that I kind of want to work on is something I've had a kind of an idea in the head. I saw some things online. I look up things every once in a while to get ideas, and so what I have to do is I have to shape some horseshoes. And I want them all to be roughly the same shape, roughly the same size and shape. And then I spent a bunch of time yesterday just trying to play with the idea of how I'm going to set them, up, because I want to I want to set them up in a circle like this, though. I don't know if you can see it, but kind of like so. And then just so they go around. And then I just do it all the way around. And I was like using magnets and all that kind of stuff to hold them and all that stuff. And then I just realized, I said, it's just too much to try to like figure it out. So we're going to wing it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to try to grab this, I think I have. I thought I had a thicker type thing. Oh, so those are tiny. So we'll just use the other one. Some of this lead, it comes in red and yellow. So this was the 2.8. So I'm going to open up this guy and I'm going to pull out a yellow one. And we're going to shape a shoe. To roughly how we want it to be. Then we're going to trace part of it on the floor by where we work. And then as I'm shaping the other shoes, I have something to reference off of that's not going to catch on fire from a hot shoe. I think is roughly where I'm going to go with it. I don't even know how to open this. Hang on. There we go. So we'll take this yellow, and it's already pointed, which is pretty nice. But I think I'm going to put it in backwards, actually. Just because I don't need it to be really pointy. Just enough that we get what we need out of it. Anyway, and then from there, we'll try to make, I think I have 8 shoes here, well 10, but those are different. I have 8 shoes here that I can try to shape to the right shape. We're going to pick one. I think it's probably just going to be this one because it's wide, it's pretty good. It needs to be flattened, cleaned up. So we're going to montage it up a little bit probably here as I spend a bunch of time heating up, cleaning, and flattening and shaping the shoes. But we'll do the first one and then we'll just whip through the other ones. And then these two, these 2 shoes are going to be a different part of the same project. And so we have to cut them and then shape them the way we want. We're going to make decor pumpkins. And so we want the shoes, we want enough shoes to go around to create the fruit part of the pumpkin. And then these guys are going to end up being the stem part. And then we're going to paint them, and we'll paint some of them. We won't paint some of them, and we'll see if they're any good. And I have an idea for a bunch of decor items for the fall and winter seasons. And I figured like August is the best month for me to start doing those in between other projects. And right now we don't have another significant project to work on. And I'd like to get some more practice welding and working in the forge, so we're going to try to do that today. It's a hot day today, so we'll see how long I last. But yeah, so we'll be working on that. So we'll bring you over. I'll get the forge started, and yeah, we'll see how it goes. So to start, when we're cleaning shoes, we don't want to heat them up too much because there's a certain certain time where it's the easiest to get dirt and stuff often out of the shoe. Before it gets too hot. So we'll be working on that. So yeah, you can just see the dirt just flying out. I don't have a scraper. The brush we use in Courtney's truck is like this one, but it has a scraper on the end. It makes it easier to clean out the fuller. But we're not going to go crazy on the clean out right now. We're just going to get it hot enough so that we can so it's burning up and heating up the dirt. So when we give it a little tap, it just falls out, that kind of thing. We just want the shoe clean enough to weld, and then we'll figure out the cleanliness of the whole project afterwards. Because again, I also forgot to buy the paint and stuff for this, so the first one we make right now anyway is probably not going to get painted. We just, again, proof of concept. Let's just get it done and weld it together and see what I need to do to get this project to work. Again, I just need the ends the cleanest. We got the fuller looking okay. The back of the shoe is looking pretty rough still. But if I need to get it super clean at some point in time, I can just take it to the grinder, the bench grinder, and again, right now we're just trying to get the shoes to size and shape. Before we take on all of the other parts. All right, so we're gonna heat this guy up. We're gonna try to flatten it, and then we're gonna cool it down, and we'll get our trace of it on. So we want the heels of the shoe to be flat against each other. So that's fairly flat. And then what we want to do is we want to make sure that every one of these shoes is the same width. And so I'm going to use this little square part of the horn to try to make sure that they do that. And so nice little tight fit around there. And I think that will be just fine. So now that we have this where we want it to be, we're going to take it, we're going to dunk it, and we're going to trace it on the floor like we were talking about. We're not going to trace the whole thing. Just around the heels of the shoe and the inside of the shoe. I was going to buy sidewalk chalk for this, and I forgot. But this should work just fine. So now I have this, I don't know how well you can see it. This little yellow line right here. And yeah, I'm going to use that to try to measure the rest of the shoes. So we'll see how that goes. All right, so we've got the shoes here. They're not as clean as I would hope they'd be. They're getting rust pretty quick, but I think I'll just polish them up. Not polish, but you know what I mean. Scrub them up once we're done here. Most of them have come out pretty okay. Here, I'll pick a couple of the weird ones. We'll pick a regular guy. Where is he? All right, so this is the first one we started with. Take a mental note, right? And then you can see the slight difference in this guy, right? This side of the shoe is thinner than this side of the shoe, and it's a little skinny. And then in the front, some of them have really thin edges, whereas some of them aren't as thin. And that's just because of the way the horse wears the shoe. They wear them down over time. And then this one you can see, even though it's the same width there, it actually has more of a curve in. And I thought I could fix it, but I also thought, how many pumpkins do you know that are symmetrical? So I thought it would be cool to have a couple of different imperfections in there to make it look pretty good. So now what we're going to try to do is we're going to try to set them up in a way that allows me just do a small weld on the ends, so we start welding them together. Okay. It's been a minute since we did this. Hang on, let me brush that up. sawdust everywhere, and you got to make sure you clean it all off before you make sparks. Before you make sparks, I think. All right. So, let's make sure that we're as good as we can be before we turn it on. And then let's just see if we can get it. We're going to try. That did nothing. Okay. Well, that's a problem. It's held, but it's not, it's really bad. I wonder if trying to do the underside of it is better. But let's try that. That seems to have held better. Still not the best, but yeah, it's like a bubble on top of it. But I think we just keep going around, and then we figure out the problem spots. Maybe after. I was popping there because it kept, my wire kept going past the shoe. I think that's just something that just keeps happening to me. Should be able to clean it up okay. Have you ever looked at the bottom or the top of a pumpkin before? Don't look pretty anyway. I mean, it's stuck together. How well is... I don't know if once it's said and done, if I can like maybe get in there to fix it. It's possible. But we'll see when we put like the stem on and stuff too. Halfway done. I only have 2 left. So I think what I'm going to try to do is find some shoes that naturally match that and just scrub them really quick, throw them on. Looks like there's going to be kind of a hole in the middle, which is fine. I just don't know how to fill it because I'd like to fill it. But look at that. It's going to be really wobbly when it's done, but every pumpkin I've ever bought was wobbly. I could probably fix a lot of the welds from the top once we're done. Yeah, like this is pretty gnarly, this bottom part here. You can see there's some separation and stuff. Wonder if I could make like a jig or something to just hold all the shoes in place and then just kind of do it that way. But the only way I could make something like that would be more welding or wood, but you can't use wood, so. If these become something that people want, I'll make a jig. A jigga. Yeah. So let's figure out the last couple here. It's a hunk of metal, all right. Well, let's let that cool down a little bit. And then I'll show you my disaster. It's quite bad. Like, if I were watching this, I'd be like, how bad could it be? Pretty bad, actually. I'm gonna have to get a better way of cleaning this up. If anybody knows any better way of cleaning this kind of stuff up, let me know. There is, I need a pair of pliers. I have a piece of like the wire just sticking in the middle here. Didn't even notice that happened. All right. A little smoky in here. I'll turn the fan on in a second. I didn't realize. But yeah, there are definitely some areas that I could probably maybe fix. But one of the things we got to do still is the stem. Now I'm going to use one of these for the stem. I just don't know where to cut it to have like a decent sized stem. And this hole that's in there is just a little on the big side. So let me cut this and let this cool down, and we'll figure out what we're going to do with this after we can maneuver it a little bit. I'm going to scrub it and stuff too. So be right back. All right, so I've opened the door, but I realize that I'm using the cord for the fan is powering the welder right now. So I got to figure that out in the future. Yeah, I don't have any outlets on that side. On the end of the shop where the doors are, there's no outlets except for the one that I ran up above the TV. But anyway, so stem, pumpkin. So if we look at this guy, still a little warm, but I've done quite a terrible job there. But it's holding. So that was really gnarly. The other side is better, but still pretty bad, right? And then you can see maybe you can see on the insides there, pretty gnarly. And I don't know how to fix that necessarily. That's something I'll have to look up after this episode. Maybe we'll come back with some ideas. But yeah, so anyway, so my first thought obviously was let's take this gnarly side and make it the butthole, the down side. But then I was looking at it and I'm like, well, maybe I can make it not look so bad by putting the stem in that one. And because the stem is oblong, just kind of like that. And so I was thinking about, well, what if I shape the stem to just sit in that hole a little bit and then weld around it and see if I can fill that gap and see if everything's going to be okay. And if I can do that, then everything will be grandiose. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just grind this down a little bit at a time, just so it sits in there a little bit better. And then once I'm done that, we're going to weld that up and call it. It doesn't have to be perfect because it's just a stem. I was thinking about twisting the stem a little bit, and getting creative with it. I just want to get this done for this part. So we're going to put a bunch of weld beads in there and see if I can get it to close the gap a little bit. I'm going to bring it closer first though. Big blobby mess it is. I think that's going to have to do for now until we figure out final decorative looks, that kind of stuff, but that's not going to be today. I made a pumpkin. It's a pumpkin. I love it. I love it. I was going to take my gloves off and pick it up, but I shouldn't do that because it's probably really hot. Because I'm not going to touch it. I'm going to let it cool. The bottom's not going to be hot. So I'm not worried about the workbench. But there's the weld. I could do something underneath here really quick at some point in time just to get the stem even further welded in, and it would potentially fill in the gap there. But this is my vision. Obviously, I wish I was better at the welding part, but this is a picture I saw of something like this. It was a lot smaller. This is way bigger than I thought it was going to be. We could use a bunch of smaller shoes, but I thought about making different sizes of these. So provided we don't have another major project next week, we might make another one of these just so we can get more practice. I wanted to make 3 or 4 of them. And then I'm going to get some like fake fall leaves and stuff like that and decorate it, take pictures of it, put it on the shop. So the shop page. I'm not going to put this on the shop page for a couple weeks. So you guys get to see it first. The shop page, remember I have the Wizard Workshop page of Facebook. It's going well. People seem to enjoy it. I've had a couple messages about people wanting stuff like the saddle rack, the cavaletti that we made, the hooks here. The hooks here, I've made a bunch of those for people now. And the bottle openers, people seem to be interested in. Nobody's asked for any yet, but yeah, there's a bunch of pretty cool things. And then we have actually, we have somebody that wants us to weld in their horse trailer. And given this, I need to practice before I do that, given how well this went. But she just wants an extra bar welded in to the tack room on the horse trailer, so she can hang her saddle pads and stuff. She's only got one, she wants 2. And I have the bar, and I can just literally just cut it to size, clean it up, bend it, and stick it into shape. Or stick it in the trailer. So I don't know when I'm going to do that, probably in the next week or 2. So I need more practice of this on this welding. This wobble is not bad. Like, it's a pretty sturdy thing. Like, I don't know if I dropped it if horseshoes would come flying off of it, but I don't know. I'm sure if it was just one side of the horseshoes that I welded instead of both sides, both ends, they probably would be more prone to breakage. But I can definitely see places where this shoe and this shoe aren't welded together very well at all. There's like a thin little weld in there that looks like I could just sneeze and break it. But everything else, holding everything else together, seems to be working really, really well. And so maybe we'd paint this one. We'll see next week when I have a chance to go and pick up the paint. Painting this is going to be interesting. I'm going to pick up some smaller wire brushes. But if anybody has any better ideas on cleaning up the slag and the popcorny stuff, other than just me getting better, which is obviously the best solution. But for this guy right here, I'd like to make it look a little bit better. It's not like I can get my grinder in there at all. So I can put an extension on my drill and put the flat disc on it, and then maybe be able to clean it up in there a little bit. We can try that. But we'll know next week. So thanks for hanging out and watching me make a pumpkin. That was pretty fun. That was actually really fun. We did that all in, I don't know if you guys noticed, there was a jump in there at one point in time because we ran out of propane, so I had to run out and get propane, and that took an hour. So, yeah. Anyway, thanks for watching this week. I really enjoyed making this pumpkin, and I'd like to make other sculpturous things out of horseshoes. I have an idea for a snowman, which I think would be pretty cool. But I got to learn how to weld better for that because it's going to be big and heavy. And then bigger horseshoe sculptures are actually kind of sought after in the horse community because not a lot of people make them. And the people that do make them are really good at it. And so maybe there's a market there for, I was going to swear, but crappy ones. Maybe not. I don't know. All of this is just in fun, and I'm learning a lot, and I'm having a blast in this shop. So thanks again for watching, and we'll catch you again next week. Remember, we have a horse show this weekend, so I'm not in the shop. I probably won't get in the shop until Thursday again, which is like what is today. So we'll have to do another one-day. Got to do another one-day shop project. But hey, fully finished project in one video. Thanks for watching.